bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum dun 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 run dun 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 bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Hello, my friends. Happy New Year. Hello from Australia. Hi, Debraka. How pretty that name is. Debraka. Is that Ravka. Sorry. Please excuse me. Beautiful. Beautiful. Hello, Tara. Monica. Hello from Canada. My friends from Mighty. We've got my Mighty friends, Facebook friends, Rumble, X, you bet, YouTube. Yes, we're going all over the place now, and it's a good thing because we need to get this homeopathy out there. So my friends, my name is Jo at Calabrese, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm here every Monday night, even New Year's night. Yes, sir, 2024. And I do one thing and one thing only, and that is I talk to you about homeopathy. And actually, I have to add that you folks seem to help each other while we're on this at this time every Monday night. Now, we also are going to meet tomorrow night, Tuesday night. You ought to know that. So we'll be talking about that in a moment. But for those of you who do know me and are my old friends, welcome, my friends. It's so great to see you all. I love it. It's good to see everyone here. Yes, and yes, hello from North Carolina. Happy New Year, says Jill, and from South Carolina and Oklahoma and Ajax, Ontario. Of course, there's Rona from Ajax, such a great name for a town. Okay, my friends, so tomorrow night we're going to talk about memory, remedies for memory. We did that last week. We're going to do a little bit more. We're going to do it again. Because it's important. And I know that it's an interesting topic. And I urge you folks to, if you want to really learn homeopathy, I urge you to go into my courses, join a study group. I mean, if you really want to learn it. And learning it is not just for the sake of learning, although that in itself is great pleasure. But learning it is so that you know how to use it for your family, so you don't depend on others. You can learn how to do it yourself. So if you go to Joette's Learning Center, no apostrophe, just Joette's Learning Center, you will find all my courses. And the one that I'm going to be referring to tomorrow night regarding memory is, of course, the course specifically on mind, the mind and the emotions. And I call that course Mindful Homeopathy. But for tonight, we're going to do something a little different. Because we're doing an extra night, because we're doing this Monday and Tuesday night, I thought we'd talk about some questions that have come in. And if you've got questions, bring them in. I can't take cases, and I know for many people that's hard to understand what I mean by that if you're new to this, but I'll explain what it means. If someone says, what should I give my daughter who has, or what's the remedy for this condition, it's a little more complex than that, because if you're talking about your daughter, is your daughter 60 or is she 6? Is she on medications? What other conditions does she have that are simultaneous? See, when we look at homeopathy, even though I can teach you a great deal of information regarding specific conditions and specific medicines, generally, it does not make sense for me just to say, oh, just give her this, just give her that. Plus, I don't do that. I teach people how to use homeopathy specifically for specific conditions and an understanding of what's behind homeopathy, how to case manage, how to manage a case, because most people think, well, you just give the remedy and it's done. No, my friends, it often isn't like that. It can be that way for acutes. It might also be that way even for certain chronics. You might see that if somebody has arthritis, if you give them our ubiquitous rheus attacks 30 or 200 twice a day, that they often find the pain is gone in a day or so, sometimes even within a few hours, even though they've had this arthritis for months, years, or even decades. Yes, indeed, it can work that quickly. But many times for irritable bowel syndrome or allergies or food intolerances, etc., we need to manage the case and move it along, looking at what was given first, homeopathically, what was given second, say a month or 2 months later, and we look down. It's almost like we're looking through a translucent, looking down to compare this to this, and now we're going to look at what happened 6 weeks after that or 8 weeks after, and then etc. And that is what I teach in my courses. That's what I teach so that people understand how to move a chronic condition along. All righty. So you're welcome to ask questions here. I do have a couple questions that people have asked in the past. And it is many of the questions that are asked of me I can't really answer, particularly on these sites. But I will at least tell you this. People have asked me, do you, Joette, get mammograms? Do you get colonoscopies? Do you go to the doctor on a regular basis? And I am not here to tell you what you should do. I'm going to tell you what I do and the way I think, what I have done in my life. And so I'm just going to give you, I'm not going to give you references. I'm not going to give you an asterisk. I leave it up to you to study and learn more so that you can feel comfortable should you be interested in knowing more about this. I don't go to a doctor unless I'm sick. Because if I were to do that, I might say, Doc, I came to see you. I've got an appointment with you. I came to see you because, it's once a year. I came to see you, and the doctor said, well, what's wrong? Oh, nothing's wrong. Then why are you here? Well, I don't know. I just thought I should come. Maybe I have a broken leg. Would you give me an x-ray? Maybe I have a growth in my throat. Would you give me an endoscopy? Would you? I just don't know. We don't know what's happening. Well, my friends, 99% of the time, and that's just a random number, but I'm going to tell you a very large number of times, we're not sick if we don't have symptoms. And that, my friend, is what homeopathy is based on. Symptoms. We actually call them gifts. We love them. We want people to describe to us what their symptoms are. And then we use those symptoms to determine which homeopathic medicine, because the medicines are based on symptoms. So if someone has no symptoms, why are we looking? I would rather spend my time with my family, teaching, walking on the beach, reading. I'd much rather do that than sit in a doctor's office and wait for someone to prod and probe and dig about like Vasco da Gama, looking for something, to discover. Now, I know what someone's going to say. They're going to say, yes, but if you don't look, you might find something that's silent. Yeah, you might. And then you might not. And so I take my chances because I would much rather live a life of not being afraid of the possibility that there could be something wrong, that my bones may not be as strong as they ought to be. Because if I'm worried about it, I drink bone stock. I eat yogurt with the cream on top. I do things that will make a difference. I don't look at my body as a machine that is certainly going to break. And I do the same thing with my car. I don't take it in unless there is something wrong. I don't call the roofer unless there's something leaking. I don't call you see where I'm going here? I don't call the electrician unless our electricity is out. It's the same thing for our bodies. Because I believe that there is a price to pay for the tests. They can be problematic. They can cause their own diseases. They can cause their own troubles. And I learned that a long time ago. The more we tinker, the more likely we're going to have trouble. Tinkering often equals trouble. So someone just asked, why is Belladonna 3C not a good choice for infants? Well, years ago, I wrote in one of my first books on Gateway to Homeopathy, that we're not using a 3C for infants because at the time of the writing of that book, although it's a second edition has come out, actually I think it might even be a third edition now, there was some discussion about Belladonna for infants, and so I said just to be safe, until we find, I didn't say this in the book, but this was my thinking, until we know for sure what is going on with Belladonna, if there is or has been ever any trouble with Belladonna, I think it's just better to just stay with a higher potency like a 6C, for example. But I have to tell you, I gave all three of my children Belladonna 3C. I gave it to them in the teething tablets, Hyland's teething tablets, and that was the bone of contention. So I'm not going to go into much deeper than that, but I'm going to tell you that I'm not at all concerned about Belladonna 3C in the correct situation when it's called for. Good question. Thank you for asking. That is from Ingrid. All right. I really struggle, Tara says, how classical homeopaths don't like the Banerji protocols. And one thing that comes up a lot is that Banerji protocols suppress. Is that ever possible? Can Banerji protocols suppress? That cracks me up, my friend. How could it suppress? They're curing cancer. They're curing, I mean, I guess, let's put it this way. If I believed in a paradigm very strongly and someone came along and said, I don't know about that paradigm, there's a better way to do this, I might feel a little attacked too. So I'm going to tell you that in Hahnemann's Organon, he did talk about overusing a medicine that could indeed cause suppression if we use it frequently. However, my friends, if you follow and read Dr. Hahnemann's follow-up books on his life, you will find that he did carry on with frequency, a higher frequency of usage, and that they used that he must have been using some kind of protocol because he and his wife Melanie were seeing 100 patients per day. You can't use the classical method with 100 patients per day. So, but it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks. If you think that this homeopathy that I'm teaching is useful to you, what do you care what somebody else thinks? I don't know. If I were you, I might go with the one that you can control, the one that the method that you can use. Because as a student, do you really want to study classical homeopathy? If you know anything about what I'm talking about, you might understand that it can take many, 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 many years, and in the end, it's not reproducible. Okay, I'm curious about sepia and pregnancy. On one of your question and answers with you on Gateway, you said it's not recommended unless sure that it's correct. But one of your blogs says sepia for morning sickness. Yes, if it's correct. If you know that morning sickness is best met with sepia, then by all means. My concern is when I teach something, I don't know to whom I'm teaching. I don't know your knowledge base. I don't know your experience. And so what I'm saying is be cautious about sepia. It's a great medicine for morning sickness, indeed. It's a great medicine during pregnancy, but used in a very high potency, and you see what we're doing is we're crossing over between some classical homeopaths who use very high potencies, and I don't use very high potencies. It's very rare. I use 30s, 6, 3, 6, 30s, 200s, sometimes 9s, etc. And so, but if someone says, oh, sepia is perfectly safe for pregnancy, not if you're using it too high, not if you're using it too frequently, and most importantly, if it's not the correct medicine. Okay. Yes, please do like, comment, and share for us, please. It really does make a difference. We can grow this community, and it will make a big difference. Question, what do you do when so many remedies seem to fit the symptoms, but none of them help? Or what to do when there's not a lot of symptoms, but one symptom is very prominent? There you go. When one symptom is very prominent, there you go. That's going to give you, there's a landing pad right there. That can be very useful. And when remedies seem to fit, so many remedies seem to fit the symptoms, and you don't know what to use, I'm assuming you're talking about an acute, such as a cold or a flu or something, give it a try. Try the medicine, see how it goes. If you don't see a change, put that one aside. Now go to the next one that seems most likely. But when you go to that next medicine, my friends, I want you to look at what's presenting now, after having used the other medicine that didn't actually act very well or didn't act at all. When we use a medicine that doesn't act, sometimes there's no change, sometimes there's a little change, but not for the better. Maybe something new becomes more noticeable, or something becomes more prominent, and then you watch that. What is prominent now? What used to be a headache after using that last medicine that you're thinking maybe wasn't right, now the person is more plagued with diarrhea. And if diarrhea is the hallmark of this particular condition this person is suffering from, now it's a diarrhea medicine that you need to consider. So you might be moving it along without even realizing it. Okay. Let us just see what else we've got here. Okay, frozen shoulder. It is, I'm not going to give protocols. I'm not going to give remedies for it, but I will tell you I have a whole course called Pain, Make It Stop. Pain, Make It Stop. If you go to Joette's Learning Center, I have an entire course just on how to choose a remedy that's specific for pain. What kind of pain? All kinds of pains. Head pain, menstrual pain, arthritic pain, skin pain, eye pain, ear pain, throat pain. It's all in there. You name it. Whatever the pain is, I tell you what exactly the medicine is to use for specific conditions. Okay. My husband and I do not go to the doctor unless we are sick. Hello. That's logic, isn't it? And then for the most part, my friends, there's a lot we can do at home, especially if you know homeopathy. For example, if it's an acute something like a flu, go to bed. Drink water, to get some bone stock, and go to bed. What is wrong with being sick? Just let it happen. We're supposed to get like that every once in a while. It's a cleansing. It's supposed to happen. But we've been led to believe that we're not supposed to ever get sick. Don't let your kids get chicken pox. No, don't let your kids get measles. Don't let them get anything. Any good remedy to support a dog's body so his body may eliminate a lump, bump, or tumor? Well, it's not that we support the dog's body, it is a correction. But we don't know whether it's a lump, bump, or tumor, so we do have to know what that is. Sometimes it's just a simple fatty tumor, and I've talked about that on my blog. My husband and I also take chances. Yeah. Yes. But if you don't see a doctor within 2 years, you can no longer be their patient. Go to a different kind of doctor. Go to a concierge doctor. Go to a good chiropractor. There are good doctors out there. And you don't necessarily need to see them in person, my friends. Now, with the advent of these screens, etc., we can get a lot done online. So, fire them. Anyone who says, oh, you can't come and see me now because you haven't been here in 2 years, get rid of him or her. You don't need that kind of a... You want someone who's in your court. You want a teammate. Okay. All right. Any medicine, any protocols for paralysis? No, I would not say we have protocols, but if you use your repertory, and I urge anyone who's going to be studying homeopathy to get to the point where you know how to use a repertory, and you open up the repertory and you look under paralysis, and then you find the medicines that are specific to that. And that is what I teach. Wow, look at this. Can Banerji protocols suppress it? Cracks me up, my friends. I'm sorry. Death throes. Death throes. I believe that many, not all, I think there's some great classical homeopaths out there, but there are also those who are very frightened by the fact that their paradigm is being questioned. And it is. I'm questioning it because I was one of those. I was a classical homeopath for 15 years, full time. I started off at 7:15 in the morning and went till 5 or 6 in the afternoon, every day except Sundays. And then I would teach at night. I did it for 15 full years. You see, when you get to be my age, in your 70s, you learn a thing or two. And I'm going to tell you, I've never seen any suppression through the Banerji protocols. What I see is correction and reproducibility. All right. Let's see. Can homeopathy stop bunions on the feet? Often what we see with bunions is that we see a halting of the worsening of the bunions, and sometimes we see them return back a little bit. I've never seen it go back to a perfect state where the toe looks exactly right again. What I do see, however, is that the pain is gone, and then the swelling is not as grand, and the incidence of the condition is not as noteworthy, and often there's just no more pain at all. All righty, replying. Let's see what else we've got. Let's see. Hello, staff won't let me go on mighties. I don't know what the problem is. I'm so sorry. If there's anyone who can help with that, that would be great. Aortic stenosis. Well, I do teach cardiac conditions, and including that in my academy, but I don't teach that to the general public. I'm sorry. But again, you can go to your repertory and look it up. It won't tell you exactly which medicine. It will tell you the list of medicines that have been used in the past, clinically speaking, or those medicines that have been proven, but it doesn't tell you the potency or the frequency. Okay, dermatitis. I hate to keep sending you over to my courses, but actually, in a way, I do. I am trying to sell you on learning more, my friends. So if you're talking about periorbital dermatitis, it's in my skin course, Skin, the Ugly Truth, Joette's Learning Center. Scroll down, Skin, the Ugly Truth. It's all there. All right. If we're taking remedies for multiple conditions, how do we space them out so we're not taking so many in a day? It's a good question. That is what I would call case management. And there is a method. I wouldn't be able to teach you right here. It is what I teach in my courses. So let's see if I can give you a quick way to look at that. What you want to do is make sure you're not taking a remedy for or a protocol for every single condition that you have. Instead, you have to know these medicines and be able to assess that this medicine, for example, let's say lycopodium, has bloating, but it also has edema, and it also has anxiety, and it also has eructations. So you wouldn't give a remedy for bloating, edema, and anxiety, all three different remedies. You know because you've studied the medicine by looking in your materia medica, that lycopodium covers all three of those. So you may not need as many medicines. In fact, you should not be taking as many. Okay. Oh, let's see what some other questions have come in. Receding gums potency. I think I think you folks are all helping each other. It's really great. I love to see that. I think you're helping. So I am not going to answer that because I have the feeling that you're helping each other. What else? Knees love arnica. Somebody must have asked about knees. Knees love arnica. You bet. And Heather says the knee arthritis protocol has worked well to relieve pain in my right knee for my 77-year-old dad. Yep, you got it. That's the way this works. Let's see what else we've got. Sensation of a vibrating, fluxating vibration feeling in my nervous system. Okay, I know many of you who are my students are going to know the answer to that. Let's give Shannon some help here. It's not the only medicine. We have many medicines that could cover this, but there is one medicine that I think of immediately when I hear of something like that. However, if this medicine that I know my students are going to come up with doesn't do it, what are we going to do? We're going to look in the clinical section of the repertory and look under sensation of vibrating. You bet. So, my friends, let's see if you can help each other. Receding gums potency. I've used it. Are you saying anything from 6x to 200? I guess somebody's helping her. Okay. Best way to distinguish Bellus paranis or Hypericum for sciatica during pregnancy. Check out my blog on sciatica. Those two are not the only two that we can consider. There are a couple more that are really great for sciatica, whether it's for pregnant women or not. Let's see what else we've got. When taking a remedy for a specific symptom and the symptoms increase with the remedy, is this a wrong remedy? Most likely it is. Most likely it is. I care what works. My daughter and I are studying homeopathy. We have the Materia Medica, and the books are worth their weight in gold, aren't they, Lisa? Aren't you right? Aren't you right? Yes. What's great for diarrhea? Look on my blog, my friends. Look on my blog, Joette Calabrese. Just go to the blog and look under diarrhea. Let's see. I have trouble collating the information I need to remember about herbals, etc., and the information about remedies. Do you have any suggestions for how to keep things straight? Well, if you have the books, I often write in my books. That might be helpful. Okay. Burning mouth syndrome, tongue, neck arthritis. I'm afraid that's a case, and so that's not something that I can help you with, but I would look at burning tongue, and burning tongue syndrome is often as a result of a drug, my friends, either coming off of a drug or taking a drug. So I urge you to, if this person is taking any medications, including supplements, because my friends, that's another question I get. Do you take supplements? I do not. I do not. I don't like anything synthetic. I don't like anything synthetic. And supplements, vitamins, are often, not always, but you better be careful because you have to really know what you're doing, are often synthetic, made in a lab, and they can cause troubles such as burning mouth syndrome. I'm not fond of going to the doctor at all, says Heather. Bursitis, I've written about it. Go to my protocol, or my blog for that. And again, if you don't find what you need there, my friends, you go to Joette's Learning Center and go to the pain course. Okay. I got chickenpox on purpose when I was a child to get it over with. We all did. That's right. I'm a chickenpox survivor. I'm a measles survivor. Oh, it's really true. Yes, I'm a flu survivor. I'm a cold survivor. I get jumpy legs, really severe, and Cuprum Metallicum 6 usually works, but sometimes if accompanied by mental insomnia, it doesn't. Coffea cruda 200 sometimes works for the insomnia, but doesn't help the legs. Yeah, it is a matter of balancing that out, but they're not the only ones, Alice. You may have to go to another medicine, but those two are very good. Cuprum Metallicum 6 and Coffea. You're right on the mark with 200. We also have cell salts such as, Caliphos, Magphos, etc. Sadly, so hard to find medical team. Yeah, teammates. Can homeopathy? Yes. Any help to folks to listen to my homeopathy ramblings? People by and large think I'm nuts. Well, that's because you have to find the right people. And that's what this is all about, Heather. That is what this is all about. And if you join any of my study groups, that's called Gateway to Homeopathy. Very inexpensive to join. You can join and be online, join through with a group. You can do it yourself. You can run a group. Simply go to Joette's Learning Center and go to Gateway to Homeopathy. And if you're still confused as to how to do this, just call my office and talk to Eileen. She's great. She helps people all the time with this. And you'll be able to join in on a group, and you will meet people. And often you'll find that people who live near you are in the group. I mean, we have people from all over the world, but I can't tell you the number of times that students have met each other through this Gateway to Homeopathy and other of my courses, and then learned that they're only a couple blocks away. Yes. Yeah, Lisa. What has happened to the medical industry? Most of it sucks. Only a few doctors. I trust Dr. Mercola. I love him. I like Dr. Mercola too. I think he's a little bit too supplement heavy and vitamin heavy. So I'm not enamored by that, but I think his heart is in the right place and he does his research, and I do think he's good. All right, look, see, this is what's happening. It's people are helping each other, and that's exactly what I want to see. My dad burped a lot, which led to them finding out he had pancreatic cancer. Do you think if we treated the burping with homeopathy, it would have cured the cancer? Oh, I don't know. I mean, certainly we have remedies that are specific for eructations, and they do touch the pancreas as well. But now that is a symptom. Burping a lot is a symptom. And if you treat it homeopathically and you don't see any improvement in short order, what do? Now you go to the gastroenterologist. Not while he's well, when he's not well. That's the way you need to look at this. There would be no reason, I don't think that's what you're saying, Romana, that I'm not sure that's exactly the point, but I'm using your question to underscore my point earlier on this evening. Okay, I'm not sure if you see my question. Yes, Gurpreet, I've seen it many times and I answered it. So just watch it again and you'll find it again. Yes, I see it over and over again. Just go back and you'll see I spoke to that. Earlier. Yes, Susan says the whole family got Christmas flu. Thank you, oscillococcinum. Yeah, one of the best medicines out there. You bet. Yep. Neuropathy in feet, same thing. See, neuropathy, of course, can be painful or can be tingling or can be numbness, etc. But again, that's in my course titled Pain. Condition with each child that causes terrible nausea all the way through 9 months. Daughter is due with fourth child. Yes, my friends. I have a whole course on called Feminopathy, and I do discuss that exactly. Nux vomica, 200 twice a day is what the one that Joette mentions. Replying to Debbie. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Monday nights in 2024, too. I think we're in for a roller coaster ride this year, 2024. Edema where the legs are hard, but APIS isn't working. Any ideas, my friends, my students? I know you know the remedy for this. This is a very simple, but I'm not going to tell you the remedy for this is the remedy for that, etc. Gurpreet, listen to me. Go back and watch this again. I already talked about bunions. You asked the question very early on, and I already answered it for you. Let's see. Post-COVID symptoms, heart problem, memory, etc., unable to work. Which remedy would you recommend? I'm not going to tell you exactly which medicine to use, but you mean post-flu symptoms? We don't need to name our flus. As soon as we start naming them, my friends, we go down several notches in the way we think. It's a flu. It was a flu in 2020. It was a flu in 2021. It was a flu in 2022. And a flu in 2023. And it's going to be a flu forevermore. We don't need to know the name. So it's not anything special, my friends. But let's just talk about that I think she's saying heart problem, memory, etc., unable to work. This is not uncommon for a lot of people who get the flu. In fact, we often even see, and you didn't mention it here, they get depression after the flu. So I've talked about that. If you Google my name and look at flu, post-flu, you'll find plenty of information. Yes. Anyone heard of restless gut? It's similar to restless legs, but the gut jumps instead. No, I've never heard that term. They're always coming up with new names. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the person is not suffering. I'm sure they're suffering, but to call it that is kind of a strange thing. Can homeopathy help a tongue tie? I believe that it can, but I know that surgery, it can sometimes indeed be needed. Attention trouble, low self-esteem, distractible, bored, active, elementary age child with learning difficulties. That's a case. Okay. All righty. I think we are there. Little cars are driving up and down my nervous system all day long, sometimes a freeway with semi, sometimes a lighter feeling. That's funny, Shannon. I'm sorry. I know you're suffering, but that vibrational sensation is what you would find in the repertory. But we have medicines, and we have medicines that are specific for that. But we also have, I'll bet you would find probably 20 medicines that would cover that. And if there's anyone here who would like to help her, by all means, do so. Okay, my friends, tomorrow night, thanks for the memories. La 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 da da. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about memory again, but tomorrow night. So we're going to do 2 in this week as a bonus to get us kicked off to 2024. And with that, my friends, God bless you all. Mwah. Happy New Year. I will see you tomorrow. Bye now.
With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusa, no dairy, it's elementary. With arnica head, arsenica fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bella so red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calica bonicum, let it melt on your gumbo, to weed are some great ways to treat yellow. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusa, no dairy, it's elementary. With arnica head, arsenica fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bella so red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calica bonicum, let it melt on your gumbo, to weed are some great ways to treat yellow. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies.